Welcome and good day to everyone. This is Justice vs. Insanity, Unpacking Malaysian Criminal Homicide Podcast.
Hi, I'm Dharindra. I'm Inspector of Police, Shah Alam.
I'm the defense lawyer. My name is Vaishnavi Viswanathan.
And I'm here, retired prosecutor. My name is Harini Anandra.
Today we will be talking about a Malaysian criminal case which is Public Prosecutor vs. Jamil Tasawe, which raised the important legal issue, the distinction between murder or culpable homicide, as well as the application and insanity justice. This case involved a tragic incident that occurred on 9 November 2019 in Cheras, Selangor. The accused attacked his father while he was asleep in the living room. During the incident, the accused used a wooden stick and also a knife, repeatedly striking the victim and also causing severe injuries. An important witness, his mother, who woke up after hearing a victim shouting and also saw the attack taking place. The medical evidence later confirmed that the victim died due to force trauma on the head. The accused claimed that at the time of the attack, he was experiencing hallucination and also believed that he was acting under influence of mind of sound, raising the issue of his mental state, whether it was insanity defense could be applied or not. The central legal issue was whether the accused conduct amount of murder to Section 300 of the Penal Code or whether he could rely on the insanity defense under Section 84 under the mental condition. Therefore, today we'll be discussing and also examining whether the legal framework of the governing homicide, the element of the offence, the availability of the defense, and also whether the charge of murder was legally justified or not. Police officer, before we go deeper into the legal analysis, why do you think this case is particularly very important for all law students to know and studying homicide offence?
So the case is significant because it demonstrates how the law carefully distinguishes between international killing and situations where the accused lacks criminal responsibility due to mental illness. It also highlights how courts rely not only on eyewitness testimony but also on medical and psychiatric evidence when determining criminal liability.
Before analysing the facts of the case, it is important to understand the legal framework of governing homicide offence. I would like to ask the retired prosecutor to explain the distinction between culpable homicide and also murder under the Penal Code.
Under Malaysian criminal law, homicide offences are primarily governed by Section 299 to Section 304 of Penal Code. Section 299 defines culpable homicide, which requires when a person causes death by doing an act with the intention of causing the death, with the intention of causing bodily injury likely to cause death, or with the knowledge that the act is likely to cause death. Section 300 provides circumstances where culpable homicide become murder. For example, if someone deliberately inflicts injuries that are sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death, it becomes murder. In the case, the prosecution argued that attacking someone repeatedly with a wooden stick and knife to the head clearly shows an intention to cause death. Murder occurs when the offender intentionally causes bodily injury that is sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death. If proven, the offence is punishable under Section 302 of Penal Code.
Defense lawyer, from legal perspective, does the use of weapons such as knife automatically prove the intention to kill, or must prosecution prove the additional facts?
So, the use of weapon alone does not automatically prove intention in this case. The court must examine the circumstances of the attack, including the number of blows, the part of the body targeted, and the surrounding evidence. So, in this case, the repeated attacks to the victim's head shows intention, and it suggested that he wanted to cause a serious harm.
So again, police officer, from investigation perspective, what factors usually influence the prosecution's decision to charge someone under murder instead of culpable homicide?
Several factors are considered during homicide investigation, including the type of weapon used, the severity and location of injuries, the numbers of attacks, and the presence of witness. And in this case, the accused used two weapons and repeatedly stuck in the victim's head. This fact should indicate an intention to cause serious death or serious injury. Therefore, the prosecution initially charged the accused with the murder under Section 302.
So, retired prosecutor, does the presence of eyewitness testimony strengthen the prosecution case in homicide trials?
So yes, eyewitness testimony can be very important. In this case, the accused mother witnessed the attack and provided crucial evidence describing how the accused struck the victim with a wooden stick. However, eyewitness evidence must still be supported by medical and forensic evidence to confirm the cause of death.
Let us now examine the elements required established in the offense, starting with actus reus. Could the defense lawyer explain how the actus reus was proven in this case?
Actus reus refers to the physical act that constitutes a crime. In this case, the actus reus was clearly established because the accused attacked the victim with a wooden stick and knife. The victim suffered multiple injuries and the attack was witnessed by the accused's mother. These facts demonstrates that the accused committed the physical act that resulted in the death.
So, police officer, would the case still be succeed if there were no eyewitness in this?
Yes, it still could succeed. Even without eyewitness, investigators can rely on forensic evidence such as blood stains, weapon analysis, and DNA evidence. In this case, the forensic analysis confirmed that the weapons recovered from the scene were capable of causing the injuries suffered by the victim.
Next, we examine the causation. Retired prosecutor, how did the prosecution prove that the accused action directly caused victim to death?
Causation was proven through medical evidence. The postmortem examination confirmed that the victim died due to the blunt force trauma to the head, which was consistent with the injuries inflicted during the attack. Therefore, the prosecution successfully established a direct causal link between the accused's actions and the death of the victim.
Defense lawyer, why does medical evidence is so important in homicide cases?
So, the medical evidence helps to determine the exact cause of death and whether the injuries were consistent with the alleged attack. Without medical evidence, it will be difficult for the prosecution to prove that the accused's actions directly caused the death.
Police officer, while actus reus and causation were established, the most controversial element was mens rea. Why was the accused's mental state such as critical issue in this case?
Mens rea refers to the guilty intention required for the criminal liability. In this case, psychiatric evidence indicated that the accused was suffering from schizophrenia and hallucinations. Because of this condition, the accused allegedly believed he was confronting an unknown figure rather than his father. So, if the accused did not understand the nature of his actions, it becomes difficult to prove the intention required for murder under Section 300.
Again, retired prosecutor, if a person commits physical acts but lack of requirement of mens rea, can the offense still be classified as a murder?
No, criminal liability requires both actus rea and mens rea. If the accused lacked with the mental capacity to form criminal intent, the offences may not amount to murder.
Again, defense lawyer, does the mental illness automatically means that the accused cannot be held criminally liable for or responsible for the action?
No, not automatically. The court must examine whether the mental illness was severe enough to prevent the accused from understanding the nature of his actions or knowing that the act was wrong. Only then can the insanity defense can successfully be applied.
The defense relied on Section 84 of the Penal Code, which proved that the defense was insanity. Could retired prosecutor explain the legal requirement of the defense?
Under Section 84, a person is not criminally responsible at the time of committing the act. They were suffering from unsoundness of mind and were incapable of understanding the nature of the act or knowing the act was wrong. In this case, psychiatric experts testified that the accused suffered from schizophrenia, which caused hallucination.
Defense lawyer, do you actually believe that defense was appropriately applied in this case, considering the seriousness of the offense?
The answer to this question is yes, because the psychiatric reports showed that the accused was experiencing severe hallucinations and could not properly understand the reality of the attack at that time. Therefore, the defense raised a reasonable doubt about the accused's ability to form the mens rea that was required for the murder.
Police officer, In the insanity defense has not succeeded, could this offense have been reduced from murder to culpable homicide amounting to murder?
Yes, that could have been possible if the prosecution failed to prove the specific intention required under Section 300. The court might have classified the offense must be culpable of homicide under Section 299 instead. However, in this case, court ultimately focused on the accused mental illness, which resulted in acceptance of the instant defense.
Retired prosecutor, what happened to the accused person after insanity defense is accepted by the court?
When the insanity defense is successful, the accused is not punished in the usual way. Instead, the court may order the accused to be detained in psychiatric institutions for treatment and supervision to protect both the individual and the society as well.
To wrap up, let's summarize the key element of this case. Retired prosecutor, could you start by giving your view on the legal framework of this case?
So certainly, this case actually illustrates the distinction between murder under Section 300 and culpable homicide under Section 299. The prosecution needed to prove not just the act, but also the intention to cause death, which is essential to a murder.
Thank you, retired prosecutor. Police officer, from investigative perspective, what do you think the most of this significant?
The repeated attacks and choice of weapons clearly shows serious harm, but what made this case unique was the eyewitness and the medical evidence combined with the psychiatric reports. So this demonstrates how investigators must consider both physical evidence and the accused's mental side.
Defense lawyer, your perspective of the outcome?
So, the insanity defense under Section 84 was important in this case because the psychiatric evidence showed that the accused could not understand his actions, so criminal intent was absent in this case. This highlights that the court's balance must strike between protecting society and recognizing severe mental illnesses.
Finally, I would like to ask everyone to give a short takeaway about the criminal lessons for the law student. Retired prosecutor?
So always analyze both actus rea and mentis rea carefully. One without the other may charge with the classification of the offense.
Investigators must document all physical and eyewitness evidence to support the legal analysis.
And remember, mental health can be a valid defense, but it requires a strong expert evidence.
Exactly. So in this summary of the case, every case reminds us that criminal liability is about both act and also the mind. Each case must be assessed individually. Thank you everyone for your insights and also thank you for listening to our podcast.